Hello, I'm your host Angelina and you are listening to V.I.P podcast, where we talk about very important people, ponies and pooches. Oh my god. Everything has gone crazy in the canine sports world, but in a good way. As most of you may know, I compete in both hoopers and agility with my dogs. And big news seems to be coming from both sports recently, which is very exciting. So my family, the dogs and I, all went to Iconics by night, which is always a blast. It's only on its third year of running, I think. But Neil Ellis does such an amazing job, and the atmosphere is just to die for. Like Winter and I, unfortunately, we didn't come home with many ribbons, or any actually, this year, but it has pointed out a small issue we both need to work on in training. Winter thrives off of the atmosphere there, and I love it too, but the best part is their courses, because judges come from other countries and our own country, but it allows us to have a crack at their courses, and there is a difference between, what we do here and what they do, which is amazing. They're a little bit more technical than the ones we see regularly in the UK, but it doesn't affect the run because the lines are just impeccable. Every line to and from every obstacle is perfect. My issue wasn't the course, it was that I realised Winter has a lovely stop contact for every contact because we do distance handling, but she wouldn't stay on them while I passed her. Never normally an issue, as she's always working in front of me normally, but let's just say we have homework, because Winter's the sort of dog that she says you're allowed to tell me what to do when I'm in front of you, and I am allowed to leave you, but you are not allowed to leave me, which is a problem. So I wasn't allowed to get in front of her according to Winter. So today, in fact, we've been working on that, making her hold those contacts while I get into the place I want to be until I release her. Anyway, the reason I'm talking to you about Iconics, other than to give you the amazing review, is to share the fabulous news that Neil and Dave have now shared with the world. I first saw the post on Facebook page AgilityNet. If you've heard of it, great. If you've seen it already, let me know where you saw it, if it was AgilityNet or somewhere else, in the comments. And for those of you that haven't heard yet, Neil and Dave are working together to make a new independent agility organisation called Agility Nexus. They are doing this for so many great reasons, and I love the idea, as having run my own dogs at Iconics, you really enjoy the good courses with perfect lines. I mean, it is also about the safety for the dog as well, so you've got to take that into consideration. They're going to have reviewed courses, the best equipment for dog safety and welfare, the best venues with the most modern ideas of agility. What's not to love about all of that? Why would we not want to protect our dogs to the best of our ability by running nice courses? Yes, they can be technical, but they can still be nice lines for the dog. We've got to take all of this into consideration. When we walk a course, obviously you're thinking about what you need to do, where the dog needs to go, blah, blah, blah. But you're also thinking, is this course safe for my dog? Well, these guys are going to take that off your hands practically. Yes, you can still do that, of course. But they're going to make sure those courses are perfect. So it's very exciting indeed. I do believe this is going to be starting in 2025, so keep an eye out and get involved. They have made a video together, so go check that out. It was really interesting and I love the idea. More exciting news from an organisation, but this time to do with hoopers. The FCI have officially had a meeting and have decided to acknowledge and accept hoopers as a sport under their organisation. More meetings are to be held to take this further by creating their rules, etc. The future of hoopers is looking more towards what the Netherlands already do. So this may be an unpopular opinion for some, but hoopers is a distance handling canine sport. And yes, it is very inclusive, but distance handling is the key part if you're going to compete. So personally, I do agree that in entry level, more movement should be allowed to help dogs gain confidence in a show environment, but I do think the way forward is to do distance handling. You know, if you are doing hoopers because you want to have fun with your dog, by all means, in training, even in competitions that allow it. But if you're taking it as a serious sport that you'd like to compete in, the end goal is distance handling. So if you don't ever plan to do distance handling or even attempt to, perhaps just do it in training or for fun at certain shows, but to properly compete, maybe try a different sport. I'm not telling anyone what to do or anything. It's completely my opinion and I would never push it on anyone. But yes, hoopers is a distance handling sport, in my opinion. The good news is that hoopers is being recognised by the FCI, which will open up many doors. It means international competitions will be able to be held and the kennel clubs can get involved and follow suit in accepting hoopers into their organisations. I have heard some opposition to this happening in the past, but I am personally tired of how many organisations that seem to keep popping up all over the place. No one seems to be able to agree on one set of rules, meaning every weekend where there's a show, you are gaining points towards different organisations, and you never have one end goal. So I could be the top level of one organisation, but be starting all over again from the bottom of another organisation, competing against people that perhaps haven't ever done it before, which I don't think is fair. That's my, again, personal opinion. So something needed to happen, and I'm glad something's finally started. As we're on the topic of hoopers, we recently had the Hooperholics UK Finals 2023 held at our venue, Devon Animal Training Academy. It was amazing. The judges lineup was fab, if I do say so myself. We had head of the organisation, Angela Lucas, Ari Velkov, hope I pronounced that correctly, sorry Ari, all the way from the Netherlands, Jill Bozier, a fairly new judge, one that myself and my mum trained up, Rachel Grills, my mum herself, and myself, Angelina Grills. The courses were fab. As you may know from my previous episode, my 3 Super Hooper stars were in the finals and they worked their socks off for me. It was a challenge of best of 3 on 3 separate courses, and I unfortunately let Winter down on one of them. It was a very silly mistake and I really felt bad because obviously she was trying her best. And River had a mind fart, which is why she was large reserve champion. Ice was also large veteran reserve champion. Again, a few silly mistakes. He had a few blips, but we got through it. In total, my 3 came away with great results. Ice had gone up to Class C, which has now been renamed to H1, and River is over halfway towards that grade, and Winter isn't far behind her either. Hopefully we can gain enough points over the Devon Animal Training Academy Hoopers Winter League 2023/2024. I do in fact have the list of provisional dates for the series if you're interested in getting involved. Obviously, as I said, they're only provisional at the moment and could be changed. So the start of the series will be October the 29th, 2023, then November 25th, 2023, December 30th, 2023, January 28th, 2024, February 25th, 2024, and finally March 30th, 2024. The one in March is the one most likely to be moved, as at the moment I believe it is on the Easter weekend, which is obviously one of the agility shows that we like to go to, so it probably will move. We always have great feedback on our winter series, so please do get involved as we always have so much fun. Just ask anyone that you know, if you know anyone that comes, especially if you're in the Devon, Cornwall area. With all this good news, I think most of us might know of a topic that I have been avoiding. I don't really wish to talk about all the bad things that have currently blown up on and over social media about certain businesses. It's extremely upsetting, and I don't wish to bring any of that negativity into this podcast, especially when everyone here loves Ponies and / or Pooches so very much. And literally, thankfully, due to the support of the canine community, some action has been taken, I believe, so we'll leave it at that. Moving on, I have taken up a new little side hobby to do with my partner, friends, but most importantly our dogs, and perhaps even the horses occasionally. It's geocaching. I have done it in the past with a few friends, but life got in the way, and while at Iconics actually, my mum, me and our friend, as well as our dogs, we went out for a stroll and did some geocache hunting. It was such fun. We even found a bug. It's like a small keychain with a code, which we logged and have brought back to Devon to help it travel some more. The person that started the bug has asked that it travels the world. So we're bringing it down to Devon and we'll see who takes it on from there. It is so enjoyable, and it really gives you new destinations to walk to, etc. You know, try and find something. It's literally like a treasure hunt, isn't it? But yes, there were quite a few surrounding on the grounds of and on the Dallas Burton Polo Grounds, where Iconics by Night is held. Just another reason it's a great show. I also managed to get an Iconics blanket this year. A thank you to my parents. They said they would get me one last year because Winter and I had gotten into the grade 1 to 3 intermediate finals, but they had sold out. So this year they did have some spare because we got in there early. So it's literally so cool. The design is lush, and it's just perfect for when sat out in my camping chair with my Oodie on, but I want something to cover my legs, you know, because the Oodies aren't that long. They are long, but not that long. And it's perfect for just sitting around, chilling, but also keeping warm at the same time at night, because obviously, and I loved it. I wore it, I guess, around the show. I had it over my shoulders, keeping my arms warm, because I don't wear jumpers and that really, because I get too warm, so it was nice to just flap around. And it's also good as a cape when you're messing about, so yeah, there's a nice bit of wind, so I could flap it around, which is fun. Everything about shows should be fun. If they're not, then it's not the best show, is it? We are off to Dogfest this weekend to perform in the main arenas, some doggy dancing, agility demonstrations, and we're also in the Have a Go rings. In fact, we have 3 to go to this month, 3 Dogfests that is, and then they are finished for the year, so it'll be back to winter training. I swear the year goes by faster each year. Perhaps it's because life gets even busier each year. Who knows? Anyway, I'll be sad to see the Aladdin flying carpet and costume go, but it's had its year. Slightly off topic, how do you all display your rosettes and trophies? I seem to come up with an idea, but after a while I get too many and it doesn't work anymore. I used to have a rosette board, but it filled up too quickly and they're quite pricey to buy, and then I tried making one, but it wasn't the best. But anyway, yeah, they're quite expensive and they take up a lot of room on your walls. But yeah, they fill up. Then I hung them above my windows on the curtain skirting thing. But that filled up as well. So I then took to the walls. You know, the hallway walls were just taken over by rosettes, which is what it currently is, but it's nearly full and I just don't know what to do anymore. They look okay on the wall, but it's not really the best. My mum does have glass vases which she fills with rosettes, but I like to see the faces and the tails, although her way does take up a lot less space. Let me know in the comments below how you arrange yours. And there's also like trophies. You can get trophy cabinets, which I am thinking about getting. but again, that takes up like floor space, and I don't have a lot of that. Especially with the big dogs around, they just smash into things without thinking about it, and I don't want them smashing into glass for obvious reasons. But yeah, I do want a better way of displaying my rosettes and trophies, and I'm always on the lookout for ideas. I've done some research, but I always come back with the same suggestions and things, but I need something different. Okay, getting back on topic and talking some more about agility and hoopers related things. Gallican equipment has become very popular around the world, supplying quality agility equipment. We are seeing it more here in the UK, and even in our neck of the woods in the southwest. You know, we're seeing it a lot, which is great, because I'm going to give you all my totally honest opinion on the equipment. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example with the dog walk that they created. At first I was dubious. My mum's dog River, who had a running dog walk, started to do weird things on the Gallican brand of dog walk. For a short while we didn't really know why it was happening on this particular brand of agility equipment. However, we soon realised why. River was used to our dog walk at home, which is the Doggy Jumps dog walk, which I will just say has been very good and durable, and anyway, she would get to practice on that one, and also the first contact dog walk when we trained with our club. Not our club, but a club we go to. So yeah, now what happened to be the problem was that Gallican equipment was so well made, with the dog's health and well-being in mind, that the Gallican dog walk didn't have the same bounce to it as the other brands had. There are a few different variations of brands and styles out there, but as Gallican has become very popular and very high quality, we decided to purchase one for our own use, and obviously to rent out, and to practice on with our dogs. The point is, the bounce is different because the Gallican one doesn't have as much bounce, which is good, because that was what was creating River's stride pattern on our one, which then changed when she went onto the Gallican one, because it wasn't the same stride pattern, because it didn't have the same bounce to it. Now, if you were like me and you train your dogs to have a stop contact in terms of hitting the contact or missing, the type of dog walk shouldn't matter as much compared to dogs that have running contacts. However, their stride pattern or even their confidence may waver still. I would rather have the best equipment for my dog's joints and have to train the equipment a bit more than I did. Obviously I trained it on the other equipment and then train it again, because it's slightly different, but some dogs it might not affect at all, in fact, but obviously River was affected by this. So anyway, yeah, I'd rather have the better equipment for my dog's joints. What I suggest is, when you're looking to buy equipment, you do the research. You don't want to get the equipment you don't want, you want the equipment you do want. So research the equipment before you buy anyway, but also check what they use at shows that you attend and what they use in shows in your area. This could affect your decision, because obviously you want to practice on what you're going to get and see in competition. If the shows near you don't use Gallican and don't plan to, perhaps you can ask the organisers of the show if they plan to in the near future. Then obviously maybe Gallican isn't the best one for you, but if the shows around your area do or plan to use Gallican, as most are nowadays, then perhaps getting a Gallican would be best. Anyway, the reason I am discussing Gallican isn't just because we bought a dog walk and we're in love with it. It's to also mention the hoopers side of Gallican. When we went to collect our dog walk, I was pretty down, because at that time I had been going through this stage where I couldn't find anywhere that I could get aluminium bottomless hoops. That are actually good quality and supplied to the UK without costing an arm and a leg after tax, shipping and import tax, etc. So I only dreamt of being able to find a supplier in the UK. So while we were at Gallican's UK distributor, I posed the question on if they would make aluminium bottomless hoops to an international sort of standard. They already made plastic ones, I believe, so, but these had the bar, but I wanted bottomless ones and aluminium, and obviously they do aluminium work because they have aluminium contact equipment. So I was, just asking around because there's no harm in asking, right? Anyway, now I wanted a very specific design. I'm not easy to please, clearly. It had to be bottomless, it had to be aluminium, and obviously colours, right? I wanted blue and red and white because that's our colours here at Data. Anyway, Gallican were interested, which I was so happy about, but obviously interest doesn't mean it's actually going to happen, so I had to keep inside my excitement and I couldn't tell anyone until it was confirmed. I waited and then got sent pictures of the prototype, and I was literally in love. It was perfect. So we have ordered 30, naturally. Yes, we ordered, so they've all got white feet, which is standard, and then we've got 15 with red tops. When I say tops, I mean the hoop on the top, and we have 15 with blue. So exciting. Some of you may be thinking, there are so many suppliers that do aluminium hoops in the UK. No, there weren't. I did so much research. Yes, there are some brands, but I didn't like them because they had aluminium feet but with plastic tops, which it would mean that they wouldn't hold their shape, and they didn't, because I've seen some and they just didn't hold their shape, and every time you need to move them or a dog touches them, they would need to be readjusted. And in competition, if you're keeping up to standard, the feet should be in a certain width apart, and the hoop at the top should be a certain height. Now, I don't want to go out and measure every time a dog knocks it or every time I want to place a hoop, and if I need to move a hoop, I also don't want to have to measure the distance between the feet then and the height between the, it's just too much work, and it takes too much time out of the day when you're trying to, it's not me just being lazy, people don't, when you're setting up a course, that takes long enough because you have to measure everything, you have to get everything perfect for the dog and the handler. Now, if you think of the time it would take to measure each hoop every time a dog knocked it, or every time you wanted to set up a course of every hoop, that would just take so much longer, and the day you'd probably only get 3 classes done, which is ridiculous. And why would you want to spend that much time doing the boring stuff when you could be watching dogs have fun? So yeah, there were also some with aluminium feet, and then the tops were plastic hoop with like an aluminium rod going through. Better, but still too flexible for competition standard in my opinion. Abroad they had the hoops I dreamed of, but like I say, it was too expensive to get them to the UK. So abroad just seems to be so ahead of the game with lots of things, like they train harder, they have the amazing equipment, which obviously now Gallican have made these hoops, we have it too, but they are a great investment, a bit more pricey than your regular plastic hoops for obvious reasons, and even more expensive if you don't buy them and you do make them yourself, because obviously you can't exactly make them yourself. And I think aluminium is one of those metals that don't rust, if I'm correct. So obviously you could have them for outside use, indoor use, and they're probably easy to clean, more so than the plastic ones could stain and discolour. I haven't got them yet. They are due to arrive on the Gallican's November shipment to the UK. So it's very exciting, I can't wait, and then we have to obviously collect them, which will be at a later date again, I'm guessing. But once they're here, oh my god, I can't wait to use them. Another reason, I think I've mentioned before in previous episodes, but if not, I'll just quickly cover it. The reason I wanted them bottomless as well is because it's more, for dogs that have the disability, or smaller dogs even, You don't want them jumping over the bars, because some dogs will jump over the bars even if they don't need to. And also, if you've got a dog with a rear end with wheels, they can go through them just like the bottomless tunnels, and it's just much more appropriate. And then back along there was a debate over the bottomless hoops, saying that they should be used everywhere, and that's because some dogs in some cases have stood on the bottom bar of the hoop and slipped. Now this has never happened to my dogs in all the years I've been training them. However, I'm not saying it isn't a possibility. It could happen. So yes, it's just better to have bottomless hoops, which is another reason why it's a good investment. So if you have the bottom ones, yeah, I mean, by all means, if you're just training in your garden, you're quite happy sending them round in your plastic, homemade even, ones with the bar, then of course do that, because at the end of the day, a hoop's a hoop, and when they get to competition, they should take it as if it's got a bottom or not. So it shouldn't affect the dog in terms of what they're looking at and what they're looking for. Some dogs, if they do look at the bottom bar, I've had some queries about whether this would happen if the dog searches for the bottom bar rather than the, the sides and the top. Would this affect the dog being able to find the hoops? Now, I'm going to say in most cases no, it shouldn't affect the dog, because at the end of the day they're also looking at your body language and also your verbals to send them on to look for something. In some cases it might, and it may take a little bit of training. So if you have access to bottomless hoops, whether they're plastic or whatever, that shouldn't matter for training purposes. Please do go and use that if you can, because you just know then if your dog is able to, go through them and find them easily enough. But for the health and safety point of view, yes, bottomless hoops are the way to go, and inclusivity as well. Talking about training with equipment, how do you all get your inspiration for training courses or even exercises? At home, or as an instructor, or even if you're renting out a venue, etc. For like our Hooper clients, I will come up with the courses in my head as the instructor. It's quite a little talent I have actually, because I can do a course in 5 minutes in my head. What I tend to do is ask my students what they'd like to practice. Now, if there's a couple of suggestions, like I want to practice lefts and rights, and then another one wants to practice, I don't know, flickaways. What I mean is I can interpret both of those skills into one course that still runs smoothly. Now, that's very valuable to me, because obviously I want to practice everything everyone else wants to practice with them. So it's important that I can do that, because I can set up a nice course with the skills that are needed to be practiced. Now, clearly, if they think they need to be practiced, then they're not so confident on it, or they actually do need to be practiced because the dog and the handler haven't quite got it down to a T yet. Another way I will get courses to our students is if other trainers send some courses over from other countries for me to have a go at myself, and, well, with my dogs obviously. I also give the course or a variation of it to my students to try out, because they like doing courses from other people, other trainers, other judges as well, and from different organisations, because it's always good to practice, all the skill bases. Bases? Is that a word? Basis. I don't know. Anyway, back to the topic. So yes, that's one way we do it. Another way is there are also lots of Facebook pages, groups designed solely for people to post their courses, Hoopers or agility ones, I believe, or exercises too. So I love doing them as well, because you can see so many different types of courses from different organisations, from different trainers, from different judges again, and it's also what people have also had a crack at, and they post their videos, and you can see how they did it really well, or some faults in their thing, and you can go and look at yours and the way you did it, and you can post yours, and it's nice to get a bit of feedback if you want it. Obviously always be kind. And of course there's shows as well, so if you go to a show, you can draw out the course in a notepad if you want to take it home to have a practice at, or to a venue to have a practice at. Or the other thing that you could do is at a show still, in Hoopaholics UK, one of the rules are you can post the course designs on the wall by the ring, or the ring side, because we have a wall because we do it indoors, but if you're outside then you can like attach it to the fencing around the ring, and that's for people to have a look at the course before it's set up, perhaps through the day, just so they can get it in their head. So it's also less course walking time, which is good, but it's good because you can literally take a picture and take it home or to your venue or wherever you want to practice them, and send it to a friend even and be like, look what I did today, I achieved this, and it's nice. So yeah, take a picture if you're able to of the courses that are set. One more way, just before we sign off, is to, if you follow a show, if they've got a Facebook page or a group even, again, you can, sometimes the judges post their courses on there, or the show management will, or even if you have a favourite judge and you're able to be friends with them on Facebook, and they accept, then obviously follow them. A lot of the top judges in the agility world especially will post their courses on Facebook, so I love watching them, seeing their courses pop up, and I think, oh, I'd really like to have a go at that, even if I weren't at the show, because that means everyone gets to join in more fun. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it and it's been very informative for you, because I know it's been a lot of updates today, but it's kind of good, happy updates, so it's good summer vibe, I guess. Everything's going well. It's quite warm here. I hope you've had a lovely day as well, and I'll speak to you all soon.